Hello, beautiful and lovely gamers. My name is Jonal, the terror of the PTRs. Finally come on to the live server as Reaper gets his lifesteal, the Reapening passive increased from 30 all the way up to 50% of his hero damage dealt. Meaning, if Reaper deals damage, he will take half of that damage and he will transform it into lifesteal on himself. Now, Reaper at max, with like just a body shot, at max, if you land all pellets, can do up to 114 damage per shot. 280 if you land all pellets headshot, which does put it that a lot of people are a little bit nervous about this, and therefore we're making this guide on how to deal with Reaper in any position, and that's really what we're going to be focusing on. Now, to break down how you guys counter a hero, you need to understand just how it's strong, in what conditions the hero is strong in, and essentially also then why it's weak. So Reaper is strong up close and personal, as all of us know, with his shotgun, and one of his strongest reason that he is as powerful as it is, one, a lot of damage, again 140 at up close and personal if you land all pellets. He has Ray Form, which makes him invulnerable, increases movement speed by 50%, and it lasts up to 3 seconds. Also reloads in gun for him, so Ray Form, in that sense, is very, very powerful. Now, he has 250 health, lifesteal, a lot of damage, and an immunity that can use to disengage bites 3 seconds of invulnerability with increased movement speed, meaning he can engage and disengage as wanted in theory, and therefore he's a very powerful hero, very scary, and very good in low elos because his aim isn't as heavily required as others with tanking abilities as well, with lifesteal and a lot of health and so on. It makes him very, very scary. Now, how do you deal with him? Well, you gotta understand that Reaper has large hitbox and is very easy to focus down because that most heroes can outrange him and to a certain extent kite him. Some main tanks and so on can struggle with it, but most heroes can actually just outrange and in that way deal with him. If you notice, let's say in support, just on the support itself, you have Lucio, you have Ana, you have Zenyatta, at least just those three, if we don't want to count Break and so on, which a lot of us would count to as a potential dealing with him, but just keeping out of range and just poking him, those three on DPS's most damage dealers has range. Genji has range that he can kite him on, same with Hanzo, same with Kree, same with Torbjorn, same with Mei, Soldier, Widowmaker, you can deal with him with Tracer, you can harass him with Tracer Sombra, you can have Ashe, you have so many people, Pharah as well, Junkrat even, most DPS heroes can harass him from range, and a lot of the tanks, well not all of them, can also deal with him. D.Va can absorb most of his shot, wasting a lot of the bullets, and firing missiles into him, right? We have, as soon as he's reloading, we have a lot of damage with our shotguns. Hog can hook him and damage him and so on, and so on. And for most of these abilities, you would be thinking, well, if I get hooked by a Hog, I will, or if he tries to hook, I will use Ray Form, and there is the strength of Reaper. That is his playmaker, almost like a Sombra Relocator, I may Ice Cube, a Tracer Recall. Reaper without Ray Form is super, super vulnerable. It's kind of something with Genji without his deflect. It's super easy for ranged players, or players that have these ranged abilities, to stop him from getting close enough without taking an excessive amount of poke. And that, for Reaper, that is Ray Form. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that gets burned on cooldown. Just get it off cooldown. That means that when you see Reaper, and when Reaper tries to engage with his team and so on, he's among the high priority targets. You want Ray Form out immediately. If the Reaper continues to play aggressive without Ray Form, you continue to punish him. Attack him with range, stun him, hook him, I don't care. Anti the bitch, just do whatever. As soon as his Ray Form went out, he's vulnerable, he's killed, that's your opportunity. It has a cooldown of 8 seconds, so that's an 8-second window that you can deal with this guy, okay? So I want you guys to remember that. Second of all, for example, let's say you play McCree. Shoot the Reaper, he has a big hitbox that takes the time, and you can even take your time if you see him coming to you because of the range difference, so you can even take your time to send those shots. 2 to the body should be more than enough to make him burn Ray Form. If not, then just land a headshot and he dies immediately. He just land a headshot, he has 10 HP and he has to do it. When his Ray Form is out, he has nothing. You can flash him and he can't win against you as a Kree. Same goes for Genji. Shuriken him until he Ray Forms. When he Ray Form, even if he gets full health for some reason, you can get up close and personal, damage him, you have deflect to send those bullets back to him. And that goes for most of them. You want to just focus on getting his Ray Form out. If this is low elo and he starts shadow stepping, look for where he might want to shadow step, check around you, make sure that those areas are covered, and when he just shadow steps, shoot him with the ranged abilities, right? That way he doesn't get behind you or anything like that. If you know he has his ultimate and so on, and you are a hero with CC or anything that can stop it, Sorry Bubble, Matrix, if you have support ultimates that can stop it, if you have stuns or anything like that, or if you are a high damage hero, like for example Hanzo or your Widowmaker or your McCree or something like that can burst it real fast, then make sure that again you're keeping an eye out for where it is so you can actually deal some pretty good damage. For Ana and so on, that means also having your nade ready, Lucio meaning having your boop ready, same with Break, both your stun and your frail, have those ready. For Moira, have your Wraith Form ready and so on, right? That is how you deal with a Reaper. You make sure that his Wraith Form is out, and after that he's a sitting duck that you can keep distance of. If he's rushing with a team and so on, it's a little bit more difficult, but a lot of time, they position themselves, even in higher elos, they start positioning themselves way too far forward, go way too aggressive on it, and then they are reliant on being allowed to Wraith Form backwards, which either forces them to play passive with their team, which again, then we can play around their team and so on. And he's not allowed to move too far forward in front of the shield. And if you guys continues to focus him with whatever range you have, that means Zarya with your right clicks, your focus fire, with your Matrix and rockets and your shotguns for the Diva, the hook hog, the hook from the hog. For Reinhardt, if he gets up close to you, it can be scary if you lower speed and you're normally screwed as a Rein and you don't get pocketed. But stuff like sending Fire Strike his way, swinging with your hammer and then immediately putting up the shield and then canceling like that. You can do the halfway swing animation, land a hit, and then immediately put up a shield that you put in an angle to try to block majority of your pellets, right? Winston and so on, it's a little bit more difficult. You normally try to play around the Reaper or play around your bubbles. Hammond, you have range with your guns. You can kite the guy or you can slam him up in the air and then shoot him. Normally that forces him to burn, again, Wraith Form or take an excessive amount of damage with your large hitbox. So if you ever see now a Reaper in your game, you can of course always counter Reaper if that's a problem, but keeping him at range and then poking him, making him burn Wraith Form, and when he doesn't have Wraith Form, he's super vulnerable to kill with this large hitbox. You can normally deal with him quite easy. Make sure that if you can on defense or attack, to keep your distance from him. Look again just for that Wraith Form and then deal with him accordingly. CC abilities and so on is great against them, and it's a really easy way to just zone him out and keep an eye on him. That's what Reapers want us here, that you just need to keep an eye on, because if you don't force his Wraith Form, he's allowed to continue to snowball until he burns it, right? It's kind of like he has 2 lives, right? You have to kill him so he burns his Wraith Form, and then you need to kill him again. Same with a Mei. If the Mei never is forced to use her Ice Cube, she can just cause havoc and be irritating. As soon as she burns her Ice Cube, all of a sudden that changes, and when it goes to Tracers and the Recalls and so on, those kind of heroes, you just need to make sure they burn their important abilities. Then they either have to play passive, or if they engage without them, they are normally very easy to kill, since those are the abilities they're relying on. So that is how you deal with this new Reaper. It's a little bit scary, but for most of you in almost any position, and for most heroes, you can keep him at distance, force his Wraith Form, you can stun him, you can push him away, you can spam him, you can zone him in some form of way, and then deal with him accordingly after what he does. If he plays aggressively, you can punish him. If he plays passively, then you can punish his team, or still punish him, as he will be confined to a small space area. And normally, you can then keep a nice, decent engagement range. You need to keep out for him, keep out for flanks, watch out for high grounds and so on, that it doesn't teleport around you, especially if you're playing the low elos, where people don't notice that. And that's really it. Now, I stream again Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch, link down in the description. Join the Discord community and Twitter, where you guys can talk about all kinds of things. And as always, if you're interested in how I miss a private coach, it's $50 for a 2-hour session. You hit me up on Discord server. Doesn't matter if you're bronze or top 500, if you play on a team or not. As long as you get a Valtteri, I can help you improve, rank up, and get better at the game. So $50 for a 2-hour session. Hit me up on our Discord server. Now, as always, guys, please take care of yourself. Good luck in your games. I love you guys very, very much. My name is Jonal, and you guys stay positive and keep the enemy in your crosshair.